What would you do if you were pushed in front of a train and woke up 12 years in the past? Let's find out how Takemichi fights impossible odds, rewrites the past, and saves the people he loves. Here's everything you need to know about Tokyo Revengers Season 1. In 2017, Takemichi Hanagaki is a 26-year-old stuck in a miserable life. One day, he hears on the news that his ex-girlfriend, Hinata Tachibana, and her younger brother Naoto were killed by the Tokyo Manji gang. Soon after, he's suddenly pushed in front of a train. But instead of dying, he wakes up 12 years in the past, back in 2005 during his middle school days. Forced to relive the moment when he and his friends were beaten by the feared delinquent Kiyomasa, Takemichi starts realizing how his life fell apart. That same day, he saves a boy from bullies, Naoto Tachibana, and warns him about the future. When they shake hands, Takemichi is pulled back to the present. Back in 2017, Takemichi meets Naoto, now a detective. Their handshake triggers his time travel and reveals he can jump between past and present. Naoto urges him to stop Mikey and Kisaki from meeting in 2005 to prevent the Tokyo Manji gang's rise and save Hinata. Takemichi agrees and returns to 2005, determined to change the future. The reality hits fast. He's once again dragged into Kiyomasa's underground fights, where he's forced to battle a stronger opponent and ends up beaten and humiliated. Just as things seem hopeless, two powerful figures arrive, Draken and Mikey, leaders of the Tokyo Manji gang. To Takemichi's shock, Mikey takes an interest in him and says from now they are friends. With a single devastating kick, Mikey knocks Kiyomasa out cold, instantly shifting the power dynamic. Draken warns the gang to stop exploiting younger students, making it clear that their behavior isn't tolerated by Toman. Mikey and Draken surprise Takemichi at school, where Hinata slaps Mikey for his behavior. Takemichi defends her, then learns it was a prank. Hinata apologizes and the three spend the day together, revealing Mikey and Draken's warm and strong sides. Next day, Takemichi spends a peaceful summer evening with Hinata, but is suddenly pulled back to the present, accidentally holding Naoto's hand instead. Naoto explains how time travel works. A handshake triggers it, and time flows equally in both timelines. Learning about Mikey's meeting, they decide to investigate changes in the present, starting with Akun, now a top Toman member. On a rooftop, Akun admits he pushed Takemichi onto the tracks on Kisaki's orders. He reveals Draken's death, Mikey's downfall, and Toman's corruption before begging Takemichi to save them all, then jumps to his death as Kisaki watches from afar. Shaken, Takemichi realizes how high the stakes are. In 2017, he and Naoto learn Draken died on August 3rd. Returning to 2005, Takemichi vows to stop that death and save Toman. Right after returning, Takemichi meets Emma. Takemichi is invited to a meeting where he meets key Toman members like Pachin, Peiyan. They debate his fate over the Kiyomasa incident until Mitsuya defends him. At a Toman meeting, Mikey announces they'll take on the rival gang Mobius, set for the same date Draken is fated to die. The fight is revenge for the brutal assault of Pachin's friend and his girlfriend, confirming Takemichi's fear that this event is the turning point. Worried, Takemichi follows Draken and sees how he keeps Mikey's recklessness in check, holding Toman together. A flashback shows young Draken sent to kidnap Mikey, but their first meeting turns into friendship, their bond becoming the foundation of Toman. Jumping back to the present, Takemichi and Naoto visit the broken Osanai, who reveals that he was manipulated, that Draken's death was caused not only by Mobius, but also by betrayal within Toman itself. The real enemy lies within. Takemichi, now back in 2005, reunites with Akun and shares a hopeful moment before rushing to warn Mikey, Draken, and the others that the upcoming fight with Mobius is a setup. Tensions run high as Mikey insists on war, Draken urges caution, and Pachin burns for revenge. Suddenly, Osanai appears. Pachin charges at him but is beaten down, and Osanai unleashes Mobius's forces. The clash begins when Osanai attacks Takemichi. Pachin bravely steps in to defend him, but is quickly overwhelmed. Mikey steps in and drops Osanai with a single kick, but when Osanai tries a sneak attack with a broken bottle, Draken easily stops him. Amid the chaos, Pachin stabs Osanai and turns himself in as the police arrive. Later, Takemichi collapses and wakes up in the hospital, only to learn from Emma that Mikey and Draken have started to drift apart. When Mikey and Draken visit his house, their argument escalates into a fight. Finally, Takemichi snaps, yelling at them to stop. His outburst cuts through their anger and the two finally reconcile. At the summer festival with Hinata, Takemichi receives a frantic call that Draken is in danger. He rushes out but encounters Kiyomasa and his gang, overhearing their plan to ambush and kill Draken. When they capture and tie him up, Hinata quickly frees Takemichi. Takemichi rushes to Draken, but on the way he meets Mitsuya, and together they reach Draken, who is surrounded and fighting desperately despite his injuries. When they arrive, they spot Pei-yan with the remaining Mobius forces. Just then, Mikey appears as well. We meet Hanma, who manages to dodge Mikey's usually unstoppable kick. Soon after, the rest of Toman arrives, along with all their captains and members. The battle begins, and Toman quickly overwhelms the enemy. But in the chaos, Kiyomasa lands a surprise attack, stabbing Draken and leaving him bleeding out. Desperate to save Draken, Takemichi hurries to get him to the hospital. Emma and Hinata catch up just as Kiyomasa approaches with his gang. Draken tells them to leave him behind, but Takemichi refuses. Blaming himself, yet determined, he pushes forward with all his strength. When he tries to punch Kiyomasa, he's stabbed in the hand, but full of emotion and resolve, Takemichi leaps onto Kiyomasa's back and knocks him out. Just when things seem hopeless, Takemichi's friends arrive to help. Meanwhile, Emma and Hinata call an ambulance, which rushes Draken to the hospital. Mikey clashes with Hanma, but despite his strength, he can't overpower him. Hanma holds the advantage and their battle ends in a stalemate. Before leaving, Hanma issues a chilling warning about a new gang rising in the shadows, Valhalla. After barely surviving the fight with Kiyomasa's gang, Takemichi goes with Draken to the hospital. On the way, Draken thanks him and asks him to look after Mikey. But suddenly his heart stops, forcing the medics to begin CPR as Takemichi watches in terror. At the hospital, Toman members gather, waiting anxiously outside the operating room. Mikey stands firm, insisting Draken will pull through. After a tense wait, the doctors finally emerge to announce the surgery's success. Draken has survived. Later, Takemichi finds Mikey alone, silently crying. For the first time, Takemichi feels the future may finally have changed. Days pass, and Takemichi becomes known as the boy who prevented the tragedy. Draken gives him Mikey's original Toman uniform, marking him as someone important to the gang. In a quiet moment, Takemichi visits Hinata and gives her a four-leaf clover necklace from their school days. Reconnecting with his feelings for her, Takemichi returns to the present to find everything changed. Akun is alive and a hairstylist. Naoto confirms the timeline has shifted and Hinata has survived. Overjoyed, Takemichi reunites with her, noticing she still wears the four-leaf clover necklace he once gave her. The three spend time together until Naoto leaves for work, giving them a moment alone. Hinata gently asks why he broke up with her years ago, shocking Takemichi. Panicking, he runs away, even though he knows she was the one who ended things. On his way back, he crosses paths with Hanma. By the time he rushes back to Hinata, it's too late. As soon as he arrives, Akun crashes into their car. Trembling, Akun confesses he was ordered to kill Takemichi. Trapped inside the car, Hinata can't escape. Takemichi desperately tries to save her, but the vehicle explodes, killing both her and Akun before his eyes. At her funeral, Naoto loses faith in changing fate, but Takemichi refuses to give up. Devastated yet determined, he vows to defeat Kisaki once and for all by rising to become Toman's leader. Naoto helps him locate Draken, now imprisoned and on death row, a broken shadow of his former self. Takemichi visits him, and Draken explains that Kisaki is the root of all the darkness that consumed the Tokyo Manji gang. Kisaki only wanted power. He doesn't mince words. If he could start over, he'd kill Kisaki. The visit ends. After Takemichi returns to 2005, the ceremony for Toman's new 3rd Division captain begins. Mikey announces Kisaki's appointment, shocking Takemichi, who knows Kisaki is behind Hinata's future death. Acting on impulse, Takemichi punches Kisaki in front of everyone. Baji, Toman's 1st Division captain, beats Takemichi until he passes out, then shocks the gang by quitting and joining the rival group Valhalla. After waking up, Takemichi begs Mikey to expel Kisaki. Mikey agrees, but only if Takemichi can bring Baji back, warning that if he fails, he'll kill him instead. Mikey makes Takemichi an official member of Toman's 2nd Division under Mitsuya's command. As they leave, Takemichi discovers a photo inside Baji's old charm, showing a mysterious 6th founding member, hinting at secrets behind Toman and Baji's true motives. Takemichi is congratulated for joining Toman, but quickly learns the harsh realities of gang life. Yamagishi explains that Valhalla was formed by ex-Mobius members led by Kazutora, a Toman founder. Suddenly, Kazutora arrives, demanding Takemichi follow him. He takes him to Valhalla's hideout, where Takemichi horrifies witnesses Baji, violently beating Chifuyu, his own vice-captain, to prove his loyalty. Hanma forces Takemichi to confirm Baji's public betrayal of Toman, officially welcoming Baji into Valhalla. Takemichi asks why Baji would betray Mikey. Baji, grim and distant, hints at a painful history involving Mikey and Kazutora. Hanma gives Baji a Valhalla jacket and sends Takemichi to deliver a message. A gang war will erupt on October 31st. A flashback shows Toman's 6 founders as carefree teens on a beach trip. When Mikey's bike runs out of gas, Baji loses a bet and goes to refuel but is ambushed by a biker gang. Baji tries to defend Mikey's bike, but just then he's saved by Mikey, who shows that he values his friends more than his bike. Later, Baji and Kazutora try to steal a bike as a gift for Mikey, but Kazutora accidentally kills the shop owner, Mikey's brother Shinichiro. The tragedy sends Kazutora into a mental spiral. Blaming Mikey for everything, he grows to hate him and vows to kill him. Next day, Takemichi meets Chifuyu, who reveals that Baji is actually infiltrating Valhalla to expose Kisaki. Later, Takemichi and Chifuyu meet with Mikey and Draken at Shinichiro's grave. Mikey confesses he still blames Kazutora for his brother's death, even if it was an accident. Chifuyu proposes a partnership. He'll help Takemichi rise through Toman, if Takemichi helps take down Kisaki. They agree and begin investigating Kisaki, visiting Osanai. Osanai confirms Kisaki used and discarded him, proving Kisaki's manipulation behind the scenes. Takemichi returns to present, and together with Naoto, visits Draken. Draken reveals that during Bloody Halloween, Baji is killed by Kazutora, and in revenge, Mikey kills Kazutora. As a result, Mikey becomes the leader of Valhalla, and Toman falls under Kisaki's control. Realizing the grim future ahead, Takemichi vows to save both Baji and Mikey to prevent Toman's downfall. Returning to 2005, Takemichi shares a heartfelt moment with Hinata, who gives him back a cherished 4-leaf clover medallion, renewing his resolve. Draken confronts Kazutora, urging him to avoid fighting Toman, but Kazutora, hardened by his time in the juvenile detention center, rejects peace and seeks revenge. Chifuyu brings Takemichi to Baji. Takemichi desperately tries to convince Baji to return to Toman, but Baji remains loyal to Valhalla, maintaining his betrayal facade. Even Chifuyu fails to sway him. Toman gathers, and Mikey publicly declares that the goal of the fight isn't to defeat Valhalla or Baji, but to bring Baji back, demonstrating his deep loyalty. Kisaki watches on with visible satisfaction. On Bloody Halloween, Toman and Valhalla gather at the junkyard for a formal duel, but chaos erupts when Kazutora knocks out the referee, sparking a violent clash between the gangs. Takemichi desperately searches for Baji, knowing his death would mean Toman's downfall. Draken stops Kazutora from attacking Mikey, and Hanma intervenes to separate them. Takemichi jumps into the fight with Chifuyu's help. As Toman begins to lose ground, Takemichi rallies the gang's spirit, inspiring Draken to take down Valhalla members one by one. Meanwhile, Mikey is ambushed and brutally beaten with metal pipes by Kazutora and his crew. Despite collapsing, Mikey rises and delivers a powerful kick that knocks out Kazutora and his men. Upset that Mikey collapses again, Kisaki arrives to protect him, gaining praise as a hero. Suddenly, Baji appears and strikes Kisaki with a metal pipe. Baji is knocked down but continues his attack. Chifuyu stops him, warning that killing Kisaki now would betray Mikey. Baji punches Chifuyu and Takemichi arrives and holds him down, but Chifuyu can't bring himself to fight Baji. In the chaos, Kazutora stabs Baji. Takemichi realizes it wasn't Kisaki who stabbed him. They try to help Baji, but he refuses aid, asking only that they take care of Mikey. Baji pushes through 50 Valhalla members and reaches Kisaki, but collapses right after. Mikey loses control, knocking out Hanma and starting to mercilessly beat Kazutora. Gravely wounded, Baji shocks everyone by standing and stabbing himself, sacrificing his life to stop Mikey from descending into darkness. Before dying, Baji reveals Kisaki's schemes and entrusts Toman's future to Takemichi. As Mikey prepares to kill Kazutora, Takemichi tries to stop him. Takemichi drops the charm that reminds Mikey of Toman's founding and shows him that Baji never betrayed him, calming Mikey and halting the fight. A flashback reveals that Toman was founded by 6 members, led by Baji, to protect Kazutora from the Black Dragons. They bought a charm at a shrine symbolizing their bond and hopes, which was given to Baji. Kazutora apologizes to Mikey and surrenders, taking responsibility for Baji's death and Shinichiro's murder. After Toman's victory, police arrive. Later, while Chifuyu is visiting Baji's grave, he recalls their first meeting. Back then, Chifuyu was a reckless delinquent, while Baji, pretending to be a quiet nerd, was studying. When Chifuyu got into trouble with a gang, Baji saved him with surprising strength, starting their friendship. Baji became a mentor to Chifuyu, all while keeping his promise to his mother. Takemichi visits Kazutora in juvenile detention with Draken, who passes on Mikey's message to attend the next Toman meeting. The encounter hints that Mikey still hopes for change. Takemichi visits Draken's home, surprised to learn he was raised by women in a brothel. After a brief misunderstanding, Draken shares his past and thanks Takemichi for helping Mikey. Later, Takemichi wrongly suspects Emma of cheating when he sees her hug Mikey, but he soon discovers she is Mikey's half-sister. The next day, Mitsuya gifts Takemichi a custom Toman uniform, marking his growing role. That night, Takemichi is officially introduced as a Toman member amid rising tensions hinting at conflict. After Toman's victory, Mikey announces Valhalla's defeat and forced merger under Kisaki's leadership. Though the gang cheers, Takemichi feels uneasy about Kisaki's increasing power. Mikey solemnly honors Baji's sacrifice and appoints Takemichi as 1st Division captain. Endorsed emotionally by Chifuyu, Takemichi accepts quietly, burdened with the promise to rewrite the future. Takemichi jumps back to the present and finds himself sharply dressed, greeted as boss by former delinquents who now serve under him. He heads to Toman's headquarters where tensions rise and arguments break out, until Kisaki enters, instantly commanding silence. Kisaki invites Takemichi and Chifuyu for a private talk. He feigns regret over what happened 12 years ago and offers them drinks. But moments later, the truth surfaces. They've been drugged, and both collapse helplessly. Takemichi wakes up tied up alongside Chifuyu. Kisaki interrogates them, and after Chifuyu reveals that he had been leaking information to the police as revenge for Baji's death, Kisaki kills Chifuyu in front of Takemichi. The season ends with the sound of another gunshot. If you want more recaps like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what anime you want to see next.